Good evening, everyone. If we could take our seats, we'll get started here. So for those who don't know me, I'm Luke Drake. I'm the moderator for the school board. A couple of things. First off, apologize for all of the complications that we're having this year with folks in one room and another. It's just the sort of the sign of the times. And also, I have both a headset on and a microphone so that we can stay in touch with the other room so that nobody's unable to participate as best that we can. I want to start off by introducing a few folks. We have the attorney for the school board, Gordon Graham, is with us this evening. From Sewell, Leslie, and Kidder is the organization. We have Superintendent Jacqueline Coe. Dr. Coe is here. Business Manager Christopher Roy. Supervisor of the checklist out in the hall. We have Jane Hadley and Terry Wanowski. Appreciate their work. I'm not sure they can hear us in here, but. And then we have the members of the board who are able to attend tonight. We have Heidi Colburn. We have Sue Morin. Christine Heath, and Rochelle Kelly is in the other room. So first off, thank you all for coming out tonight. I know this is a sort of sandwich between two weather events. It's kind of, as I said, it's kind of a strange year. It's been an interesting lead up here. So first I'm going to go over some of the rules for the meeting, and then we'll get right into the business and hopefully get through this fairly orderly. I'm going to just summarize some of this because you're already in the room, so you don't need to know about how to get to the room. If anybody objects, let me know to a summarization. The first section is just requiring the use of masks, so I'm not too concerned about that, although we do request that when you come up to the microphone in this room that you keep your mask on, and if you choose not to, that you wipe down the microphone beforehand. We do, for just awareness sake, we have separate bathrooms. So for the folks in this room, out and to the left is correct, Jackie? And for the folks in the cafeteria, there's a separate bathroom over there. So any access issues or anything like that, I have two assistant moderators with me tonight. I also want to call out, in the other room, we have Keith Erf, who's acting as our moderator in that room. And then we have Jill Desjardins in the back here, who's sort of my floating assistant. We actually thought we'd end up with 3 rooms tonight and only ended up with 2. But if there's any questions, concerns, or anything, feel free to reach out to any one of us and we'll try to get them addressed as quickly as possible. Okay, so I'll just move through the procedures. Again, number 1 just talks about the types of masks. We're all wearing masks in this room. The second one just talks about the must use a microphone. So, sorry, I'm getting some feedback. Someone's talking in my ear. Thank you. So folks speaking must use the microphone. So all in attendance and those watching from home, this is being broadcast on a public channel so that everyone can hear what's being said. Then we're just talking about how to wear the masks. And then we talk about entering. Sorry, it's a little distracting for the chatter in the ear. Then we talk about the separate room. I'm going to jump right ahead to the conduct of the meeting, which is how we're going to run things for processing our warrants. Number 1, the moderator will not follow Robert's rules, just as sort of a loose association with them. The moderator will use the following general rules of procedure, whose main purpose is to keep the meeting moving and not get bogged down in procedural quagmires. By majority vote, the voters can overrule any decision that the moderator makes and any rule that the moderator establishes. A voter can raise such a request by a point of order. 3, any warrants before the body will be considered one at a time and in order. Any voting member of the public who wishes to speak to a warrant article thereof may place their name on one of the speakers lists in each room. So the folks who know they want to speak, just put your name on the list in the back, and we'll take those folks first. Please provide your name, the article you wish to address. Moderator and assistant moderator will exhaust these lists prior to asking for a show of hands for additional speakers from the floor. In recognition of the pandemic, speakers are asked to remain in their seats until approached by the, indicated from the moderator to approach. We don't want to have a line up if we can avoid it. Moderator will address each article as follows. Moderator will announce the article number, read the article and text of the article, and it will be displayed on the overhead screen or otherwise made available at the meeting. The moderator will recognize a member of the school board to open discussion of the article. The meeting will debate the article and any amendments to the article and vote on any amendments to the article. Everyone who speaks must use a microphone. Both locations have a mic, and the moderator will indicate which voter at which microphone in the venue has the floor. No one may speak to the body unless he or she has the floor, unless it's an assistant moderator, notifying the moderator in the gym of a voter wishing to speak in one of the other remote venues. No one may have the floor unless recognized by the moderator, with the exception of voters raising points of order in seconds, or on motions, or disabled persons requesting accommodation at their seat. If anybody can't get up and move to the microphone, we'll bring one to you. Any voter may speak on any point of order from their seat after being recognized, including the call to second a motion, challenge moderator's ruling, or to overrule the moderator. Each speaker must provide his or her name and address of residence, including those who raise a point of order or second a motion. All motions, except the motion to limit debate or call the question, must be in writing and delivered to the moderator. This may take some time due to the separate locations, and we request your patience on this. Moderator will only allow one motion on the floor at a time, except a voter may raise any point of order at any time, and if the voter has the floor, the voter may make a motion to call the question. The moderator will not accept a negative motion, which are motions that require a no vote in the affirmative, such as I move that we not adopt the budget. So basically, we just want to be clear about what folks are voting on. Motions to call the questions and limit debate require a 2/3 vote. If passed, these motions stop debate on the motion. However, all the voters who previously indicated to the moderator they wish to speak on the motion will be allowed to do so. In addition, the moderator shall reserve the right to refuse to recognize a motion to call the question if, in the moderator's opinion, voters have not yet had an adequate opportunity to discuss the issue. Without objection, the moderator may also permit non-resident school district staff or their subject matter experts to provide information to the assembly regarding motions on the floor. All speakers must be courteous and must speak to the issues, not to the individuals raising them. The moderator will not allow personal attacks or inappropriate language. If, in the opinion of the moderator, any person behaves in a disorderly manner and after notice from the moderator persists in such behavior, or shall in any way disturb the meeting or willfully violate any rule of the proceeding, the moderator may have a police officer or any legal voter of the town remove such person from the meeting, RSA 40.8. All questions and comments should be addressed to the moderator. The moderator will choose who responds to the question. With the exception of initial presentation of the articles, which the moderator requests be limited to 10 minutes, all speakers in the debate are requested to limit their discussion to 3 minutes. These are requests, not mandates. Each person may speak only once on a single motion or amendment until every other person who wishes to speak has done so. Due to our location this year, all votes will be by a show of hand with your voter card. However, any 5 voters may require that the vote on any article or question be by secret ballot. To do so, all 5 voters must stand and be identified, and the request must be presented in writing to the moderator prior to the end of debate on the article in question. Motions to reconsider an article may only be made immediately after the vote on the article and may only be made by a voter who voted on the prevailing side of the vote to be reconsidered. However, the following limits may apply to reconsideration of an article. This is a correction that's not in yours. I got some input from council about the difference between our rules under SP2 and the rules that I frankly worked to plagiarize from the Exeter school system. And so a motion to restrict reconsideration, if adopted, will prohibit further action on the restricted article. Please disregard the last full sentence of section 18. That's not accurate. It does not create a 7-day delay to the next meeting. Reminder, since the moderator, any rule of the moderator or decision of the meeting can be reversed or changed at any time prior to the end of the meeting by a majority vote of the meeting, there is no rule that can be adopted that can absolutely prevent reconsideration of an article. The moderator may vote on all articles. However, this moderator plans to vote only in 2 instances. The first will be to break a tie, and the second would be to make a vote to tie if a motion the moderator opposes would otherwise carry by 1 vote. Any points of order on the rules? Hearing none. Okay, so we only have one warrant before us. So I will read the introduction and the first article. Do you want
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Okay. Stand by. We have one technical difficulty this evening. Our clerk for the school board was not able to make it tonight, and that position is voted on by the school board members. And so we have to go through the technicality of having a vote of the school board. Is that accurate?
The school district clerk.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to let Jacqueline address this issue because this just came up coming into the meeting tonight.
That's okay. Our school district clerk is ill or has a family member who's ill and who is not able to be here. That happened right before the meeting. So this body actually needs to elect my willing assistant here, Irene Gamache, who is a Weare resident, has volunteered to be to stand in, and so this body has to elect her.
Okay, so as I understand it, what needs to happen is the board needs to make a motion for this person to be considered, and then the body will vote on that motion. Do I have such a motion from the board?
I make a motion for Irene Gamache to act as our clerk for this evening.
So we have a motion from the school board. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the matter? Hearing none, if you vote to approve, just hold your card up. Keith, let me know if there's what the vote is in your room, if there's a problem. Okay, thank you. For those who oppose? And oppose? Very good, the motion passes. Okay, we're going to move into the Weare School District 2021 school warrant. So, you are hereby notified to meet at the Weare School, Middle School, 16. Whoops. I'm sorry, is there a point of order? No? Okay, I'm sorry, I thought I heard something. Wednesday, the 17th of February, 7 p.m., to act on Articles 1 through 4. Ballot voting for the election of officers and Articles 1 through 4, as acted on the deliberative session, will be held on Tuesday, the 9th of March, 2021 at the Weare Middle School, polls opening at 7 a.m., closing at 7 p.m. There are 2 board member seats that will be on the ballot. Obviously, we won't be going over that. So, Article 1. I will read the article and then we'll see if we have a motion to adopt. Article 1. Shall the Weare School District receive the report of agents, auditors, committees, and officers chosen as printed in the annual report? Majority vote required. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt Article 1.
I'm sorry?
I'll make a motion to adopt Article 1.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on Article 1? Let me just check the other room. There's a little conversation going on in the back between my moderator and the communications folks. Technology is such a blessing, isn't it? Keith, do you have any, I'm sorry, I lost my place. Have moved and seconded Article 1. We ready? Is there any discussion in your room on that article? Keith Erf, can you hear me? I'm asking if there's anybody that wants to discuss Article 1 in your room. It's been moved and seconded. We're just looking if there's any debate in your room. Roger. No debate in that room either. Seeing no debate, we'll go ahead and move on to Article 2. As I understand it, we don't vote on each individual article. Again, some confusion there. What we'll do is have the discussion on all of them and at the end vote. All right, on the adoption, because we need to cover any amendments and that sort of thing as an entire package. So, moving on, I will read Article 2. That was
Just rule that the article seeing no discussion. I rule that the article is on the warrant, on the ballot as printed.
very good. Seeing no discussion, I rule that the article will appear on the ballot as printed. We're all learning tonight.
Could I make a motion to restrict reconsideration of this article?
That would be appropriate? A motion to restrict consideration?
If you want to.
So we have a motion to restrict reconsideration of Article 1.
I'll second.
And we have a second. What this is basically to lock down the discussion so it doesn't get reconsidered. It will require a vote. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Is discussion in order, Council? All right, so is there any discussion on the motion to reconsider?
Restrict.
Or to, excuse me, to restrict? Keith, any? Okay, seeing no discussion in either room, we'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion to restrict reconsideration, which means we will not reconsider this article, please indicate by holding your card up. Thank you. Keith, you got a count? Okay, all those opposed, please hold your card up. Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to Article 2. Shall the Weare School District set the salaries of the school board and the compensation for any other officers of the district as printed in the 2021-2022 budget or take any other action in relation thereto? This warrant article is supported by the school board. The 2021-2022 amount is included in warrant Article 3, the operating budget. It will require a majority vote. Do I have a motion on Article 2?
I'll make a motion on Article 2 to pass.
And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on Article 2? Seeing no discussion, we'll call the question. All those in favor of adopting Article 2 as written, indicate by holding up your voting card, please. Very good, thank you. All those opposed? The motion carries.
I move to restrict reconsideration of this article, please.
We have a motion to restrict reconsideration. Do we have
I'll
a second?
second.
We have a second on the motion to restrict reconsideration. Reconstrict, wow. All right, so we have a motion. Any discussion on that? Seeing none. Those in favor of restricting reconsideration of Article 2, raise your ballot. Excellent. And you can put them down. Opposed? Motion carries.
I would like to make a motion to discuss Article 4 before Article 3.
Okay, we have a motion to discuss the next article out of order, and I understand there's a rationale for that. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, so
So-
first off, I'll ask someone to speak to the reason for stepping out of order on this and explain to the voters what's happening here.
The reason for the motion is that a correction needs to be made to the CBA article, and when that correction is made, it will impact the budget. So it's important to take up Article 4 out of order, and I ask that Superintendent be recognized to more fully explain.
I'm sorry, who to be recognized?
Superintendent Jackie.
Jackie, very good. The moderator recognizes Jackie Coe.
Okay. Historically, many districts, including those in SAU 24, have reflected the savings from anticipated retirements in the teacher contract warrant article. In my presentation at public hearing, the proposed budget reflected current staffing levels, including the salaries of those we anticipate will be retiring. The anticipating savings for those retirements were reflected in Article 4, not Article 3, the budget. We now understand that this isn't a best practice, and in our continuing effort to improve, we are making a correction now to reflect the cost items stemming from the negotiated agreement based on current staffing levels without the retirement savings. Normally, articles related to negotiated agreements can't be changed by voters at a deliberative session. An error, however, can be corrected. The statute states no cost items agreed to by the public employer and the employee organization shall be modified by the legislative body of such public employer. The board will not ask the voters to change the cost item agreed to. Rather, it will seek to change the amount in order to accurately reflect what was agreed to. The corrected amount should be $129,318. If the school board's proposed decrease amendment, which we'll talk about later, to the operating budget passes, there will not be a tax impact increase for the total warrant article due to this correction.
Okay, back to me for the vote on taking up Article 4 out of order. Is there any debate on the motion to take up Article 4 out of order? All right, seeing none, call the question. If you vote in favor of addressing Article 4 out of order, please raise your ballot card. Thank you. Opposed? Excellent, the motion carries. So Article 4 is now on the floor, correct? So now we're going to cover Article 4 as opposed to Article 3, so I will read Article 4. Shall the Weare School District vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Weare School Board and the Weare Education Association, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing levels over those paid in the prior fiscal year. Year 2021-2022, $129,318, and further raise and appropriate the sum of $129,318 for 2021-2022 fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits over those of the appropriation at the current staffing levels. This warrant article is supported by the school board. This appropriation, in addition to warrant Article 3, is in addition to warrant Article 3, the operating budget. Stand by one.
Yeah, that's going to be the amendment, I think. That they
Oh, I see.
Okay, so it was the 5,000 originally.
Understand.
As printed, they need to amend it, the body needs to do that.
I understand. I'm sorry, my notes are a little unclear on this. But so what we're doing, to be very clear, is what was presented actually is the 5,935, and what the proposed amendment is going to be to change that number, $5,935, to the figure $129,318. Okay, are we all clear on that? I realize that's confusing. I'm a little confused myself.
I move to amend Article 4 to substitute the number $129,318 for the number $5,935 in both places where it appears in the article.
I'll second.
Very good. We have a motion to amend and a second. So again, what we're voting on here is the change from $5,935 to $129,318 for the reasons addressed by the administrator. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, we'll call the question. Raise your cards if you're in favor of passing the amendment as stated. Yes, sir. Yes, okay, I've had a request from the other room that we have the administrator explain again the change. There's some misunderstanding on what's happening. So we will hold that vote for a moment. We'll re-vote in a moment after the administrator has the opportunity to address the question.
Sure.
Keith, are there specific questions?
Am I okay?
They just couldn't hear it clearly in there.
Oh.
I'd like you to re-explain.
Okay. In the past, SAU 24 has reflected the savings from anticipated retirements in the teacher's contract warrant article. So when I presented at public hearing, the proposed budget reflected current staffing levels and included the salaries of those we anticipate will be retiring. We have 4 retirements this year. The anticipated savings from those retirements, because somebody retires at a higher salary than we replace them with, were reflected in Article 4, the collective bargaining agreement, not Article 3, the budget. We understand that isn't a best practice, and we are making the correction now to reflect the cost items stemming from the negotiated agreement based on the current staffing levels without the retirement savings. So that brings what I brought to public hearing was a warrant Article 4 in the amount of $5,935. The correction is $129,318. And so that does not subtract the cost savings from somebody retiring at a higher salary and us hiring somebody at a lower salary.
Just explain that basically what we're going to do is take it out of the operating budget, put it in the collective bargaining article.
So this correction is to Article 4. When we get to Article 3, which is the operating budget, one of the board members is going to make a motion to subtract the operating budget, our proposed operating budget, by that amount. So if you look at the total cost of all 4 articles on the warrant, the actual cost equals the same thing that I presented at public hearing. It's where we're putting the money.
Keith, did you get your answer? Okay, I sent down the write-up on that too in case there's any additional questions. Okay, so since we had some clarification, I'll call for debate again. Is there any debate on this proposed amendment to Article 4? I have one in here. Frank, do you want to be recognized?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Frank Campana, Quaker Street. I'm going to ask one more time. I'm probably the slowest one in the room. So you are not using savings from retirement to offset the 129.
Correct,
That's why it's 129.
correct.
Okay, I got that. My question is, and for some people, they were here at the town deliberative session, it's truly not a quick trick question, but what is the percentage increase for the article?
For the article itself, Frank, are you
Right.
talking about?
In other words,
Do we
what
need
what are
to-
the what are the teachers getting for an increase?
Should
One,
I
two,
speak
three,
to
four?
that, or are we?
I think, Frank, that's out of order at the moment. I think we need to vote on the amendment, and then,
Oh, I thought you already did.
no, sir, we're
Okay.
still working through that. We're
I
just,
thought you opened it up for discussion.
I did, I opened it up for discussion on whether or not we want to amend this article to reflect that change that Jackie
Okay,
was
I
talking about.
apologize.
No worries, we'll get to your question.
I'll
on the
have this
next one.
guy hold my space.
There you go. Okay. Any other debate on the proposed amendment? Go ahead. Can we? It's on.
Okay. Hello, Holly Shelley, High Rock Road. I do have one question about this. What has been done in the past, just to clarify for voters when they're going to be seeing this on the article? Is it going to be very confusing now that we're changing our system for reporting that, or has it been done this way in the past? Thank you.
And I'm going to ask Jackie to answer that question.
So the practice in SAU 24 has been to attribute, to use the savings from retirements to offset the contract. And so, especially when we had a multi-year contract, generally the first year was lower than the following years, year 2 or in year 3. I don't know how it's a 1-year contract, and I don't know how voters would see this. I don't think it's the cost of the contract. It accurately represents what that increase will be.
Is the question satisfied? Keith, that was for you. I just asked if the person asking the question is satisfied. Is there any more discussion from that individual? Okay, any additional discussion? Then we will call the question on voting to modify Article 4 as described. All those in favor of modifying the article, raise your ballot card. Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. So now we're going to move back to consideration. I'm just looking over here for council for Article 3. Very good. So we've modified Article 4, but we're going to go back and talk about Article 3 now, and then we'll go back and vote on that again.
Sorry,
We'll still need to do 3.
some more discussion on Article 4.
Yes, we will have more discussion on Article 4
No, Article 4 now. Article 4 now. Talk about
Article 4
Article
now.
4
Oh, I see,
now
okay.
and dispose of it.
All right, clarification from council. Because we've addressed this out of order, we're going to have to address Article 4 in its total at this point,
Yes.
and then we'll go back and talk about Article 3. So I will read Article 4 as amended, and then we'll open it up for debate on or discussion on Article 4. Shall the Weare School District vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Weare School Board and the Weare Education Association, which calls for the following increase in salaries and benefits at the current staffing levels over those paid in the prior fiscal year? The year 2021 to 2022, the estimated increase is now $129,318, and further raise and appropriate the sum of $129,318 for the 2021-2022 fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits over those of the appropriation at current staffing levels. Parenthetically, this warrant article is supported by the school board. This appropriation is in addition to warrant Article 3, the operating budget. This requires a majority vote. Do I have a motion to adopt Article 4,
I make a motion to adopt Article 4.
and a second.
I'll second.
And now we can have discussion on Article 4.
May I speak to the article first?
Yes, I'm sorry, I apologize. I should have given the board the opportunity to address the article before we have discussion on the floor. My bad. Yes, ma'am, please.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you very much for coming and attending tonight. The Weare Education Association came to the negotiation table with one request, that they continue on the present pay scale and maintain their career step. They could have opened a variety of areas to improve their contract. They chose not to, due to the uncertain times that we are all experiencing. Most of our teachers are taxpayers, many in Weare. They too don't want to have major tax increases in an unstable financial time. They too have been impacted by COVID financially and health-wise. They have partners who have lost hours or jobs. Some of our teachers who have second jobs during the school year or summer have been unable to maintain them as in the past. That is why they're only asking for the increase that keeps them on their career step. According to New Hampshire DOE in 2019-2020, the state average teacher salary, if we could go to the next, was $59,624. Ware's average was $48,310. That is a difference of $11,314 or less. Our hope is by passing this contract, we will keep the wonderful teachers we have and encourage other qualified candidates to fill open positions. The average increase in teacher salaries is between $950 and $1,400 for the year. Teachers will also be paying up to 7.3% increase in their share of health care premiums. Employees who get a family plan will potentially see an increase of $259 to their portion of the premium. This has been a very unique year, and our teachers have done an amazing job keeping it as normal as possible. While it is part of a teacher's DNA to be dedicated, flexible, and creative in a typical year, this year they have risen to the challenge to do more than their best for our children. Here are just some of the behind-the-scenes things that they've been doing. Delivering materials to students, including holiday items, theme materials, and gifts, and that's delivering to their homes. Volunteering to come in school on a Sunday for parent to pick up materials. Preparing the rooms in a cheerful yet safe way to welcome kids back. Wellness check-ins during prep times and outside of school hours. Sharing photos with parents of learning and celebrations. Offering more help sessions remotely and in person after school and during prep times. Sometimes teaching an extra block during the school day. Planning and teaching curriculum above and beyond SAU assigned topics to keep students engaged. Organizing Zoom author village visits and other online experiences to replace field trips. Collaborating on learning targets to cover more targets in more classes. Creating packets and lesson plans to have on hand for any immediate shifts to remote learning. Summer, weekend, evening workshops and book studies for best practices with remote teaching in other areas. Extended absence planning for students in addition to their regular face-to-face daily activities for school. Extra cleaning to help maintenance. Giving up their own lunches to set up Zoom lunches for kids to socialize. Buying cases of water, extra snacks, winter clothes, chapstick, and Valentine's for children who need something. And mailing holiday and monthly positive letters to students. Our schools, which are made up of our students and staff, are a community resource that benefit all of us. Thank you.
Very good, thank you for the presentation. So it would be appropriate to open up the floor for discussion of Article 4. Sir, recognize as a member of the Finance Committee.
Good evening, Tom Downing, Weare Finance Committee. Because of this material change reflected to Article 4, the Weare Finance Committee cannot comment at this time on whether to recommend or not. The Weare Finance Committee meeting will commence at 8:30 this evening via Zoom, where we can debate and vote on whether to recommend or not this evening. Therefore, the taxpayers could either view the recording of the meeting or they will see our recommendation in the flyer. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional discussion?
Thank you again, Mr. Moderator. Again, my question
For
is,
those in the other room, Frank?
pardon me?
For those in the other room, name and address.
Frank Campana, again, Quaker Street. Again, my question is, what is the percentage increase?
The average percent is 2.3% increase.
Okay. So my question to the board is, can someone tell me what the increase in Social Security is for this year?
1.3%.
It's
come-
1.
Did I hear 1.3%? 1.3% is the answer, sir?
Okay. Well, that was my same question at the town deliberative session. So what you're asking me, and I appreciate what you say about teachers, suffering from COVID, family issues. We're all in the same boat. My Social Security is 1.3%. Yet you want me to pay the 2.3? Is that what you said? So how am I going to do that? Can you give me a suggestion? Because I'm suffering also from COVID. I don't work. I'm on a fixed income. Yes, like everybody, like probably most everybody in the room, they got government subsidies from COVID. Probably going to get some more because you probably all fall within the within the maximum amount that is allowed before you don't get the 600, the 1,400, the 1,200, whatever it's going to be. So you are getting that to help you, okay? Yet you seem to neglect that or overlook that at 2.3%.
So,
I'd almost say that's a little bit outrageous. I can't put the numbers together. So I got to come up with, the money to fund that.
so Frank, just as a point of clarification, first, the questions come to the moderator, not to the board. But secondly, you asked a question that I think is rhetorical. You're not actually asking people how you solve it. You're just pointing out that this creates a financial hardship for you.
I'm making an
correct?
opinion. I'm stating an
Understand.
opinion.
A point. Understand. Thank you.
Okay. And secondly, if I may, if there's
You may.
nobody behind me,
There isn't.
the slide that you showed about teachers' averages, sometimes that's a little bit tough for me to swallow because you look at the high ends, Bow, Kearsarge, Hopkinton, into the $60,000 range. I've always been a firm believer, if you're going to make a comparison, then you should make an equal comparison on what is the tax base of those particular towns. Are they bedroom communities, like Weare probably is, or are they all manufacturing, or all business-based? Do they have elderly housing, where the elderly generally don't, cost a lot of services to the town, like a house with 4 or 5 kids, 2 or 3 kids? So that is never, at least as many years as I've come to these meetings, that has never been looked at. All you're doing is seeing what they're making. And my third comment in regards to the same slide is the $59,000 for the state average, Ware's at 48. I couldn't even hazard a guess that what type of increase the teachers would need to bring them up to the state average. Because the state average, like in other towns, is always going to increase. So I liken it maybe to a horse race, where the last horse in the race is never going to catch up to the first horse in the race, because the first horse in the race is going to keep going at that pace, and it's something that's out of reach. So I appreciate the average being stated, but to me, it's not that simple. There are other factors involved. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you.
May I respond?
You may.
Okay, to take a look at some of these local areas, we are similar to Henniker, Dunbarton, New Boston, when you're talking about bedroom communities, and that has been looked at. So as you can see, we are still below. We're looking at being able to maintain teachers, and teachers are going to go to other places. And the teachers are not asking to be brought up to the average. They're asking just for that career step.
Thank you. Additional discussion on Article 4. Keith? Very good. I will recognize the speaker at the microphone in the cafeteria.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Leah Cushman, North Huntington Hill Road. My question is, what is the average, or what is the cost of the average benefit package for the teachers in Weare? And if we know, what is the average cost of the benefit package for teachers in New Hampshire?
A member of the board want to respond to that?
I'd like to
Or
defer to Jackie
over
for
to-
that.
All right, we're going to have Jackie Coe, the administrator, respond.
I do not have the exact numbers in front of me, but the cost of our family health plan is $23,000. And in Weare, the teachers pay 15% of that, and the district pays the other 85%. Additionally, there is dental, retirement, and FICA, and all those other costs related. I think our healthcare costs are similar to, and that's the biggest benefit, our healthcare costs are similar to the healthcare costs around the state.
Question satisfied? Keith? Thank you. Additional discussion? Sir?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Tom Downing, 28 Winterberry Lane, and I'm speaking for myself. I would say first off, as a citizen and a taxpayer, I appreciate the fact that the teachers have decided to forego any contract negotiations, which they very well could have this year, and I thought it was an act of good faith and appreciated that. And secondly, and lastly, I would say that in seeing that chart, I'm a little embarrassed that we're paying our teachers. And so what I would say to the citizens here, this is probably the least we can do, is to approve and vote this in. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional discussion? Anyone in your room, Keith? All right, seeing none, I will call the question.
Just rule that it's on the
Oh,
ballot.
I'm sorry.
Just rule that it's on the ballot.
I'm sorry. Correct it again. I'm just going to rule that it's going to appear on the ballot as written and, or excuse me, as amended and voted on. There's no vote on this point.
I move to restrict reconsideration of this article, please.
We have a motion to restrict reconsideration and a second. Discussion would be in order of the motion to restrict reconsideration on this article. Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those who vote in favor of restricting reconsideration on Article 4, raise your cards. Thank you. Opposed? The motion carries. Very good. The motion will appear as written.
No, as amended. As amended.
As amended, right. It will appear as amended. Okay, now we're going to move on to Article 3. I will read the article to start. Shall the Weare School District raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amounts set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling 16 million, I'm sorry, I have a point of order.
The bottom number.
The bottom one, thank you, there's a strikeout on my sheet. 16,537,569.
I don't know which sheet we were looking under. Look, not the strike-through number, where Heidi's going to propose.
Oh, I see. I strike what I just said. Again, this is, what's in front of me is a proposal to amend. The actual number, I'll back up. to the sentence. Unfortunately, it's all one sentence. Shall the Weare School District raise and appropriate an operating budget, not including appropriations, by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session, for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $16,685,938. Should this article be defeated, the default budget will be $563,068, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the district or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13, 10, and 16 to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. This warrant article is supported by the school board. Do I have
I'd
a
like to
motion?
make a motion to amend this
We have a motion to amend.
to decrease the proposed budget by $148,369.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion to amend, and the new number is then going to be $16,537,569. So there is a motion on the floor which has been seconded to change the number in Article 3 from $16,685,938 to $16,537,000, I'll start over. $16,537,569. I commend you all for the numbers.
Can I speak to this?
You may speak to this.
As discussed in Article 4, the decrease is for two things. First, it's the corresponding cut in salaries and benefits of $123,369 that was added to the corrected Article 4. Second, we are proposing a cut of $25,000 for a change to our technology coordinator positions that we plan to use COVID grant funding for next year. And the presentation will reflect those cuts.
Very good. So we have a motion to amend. Discussion would be in order. Is there any discussion on the motion to amend Article 3? Wrong button. Keith? Keith, any discussion? Yes, so that everyone can hear. But I will recognize you. We have a speaker in the other room, happens to be the assistant moderator. So Mr. Erf will be speaking in a moment.
Just so I understand what you did, I understand the 25,000, I'm not talking about that. But in Article 4, you put in 129,318. If I subtract 5,935 from that, shouldn't I get 123,369? Or are there different numbers going in to make up that difference?
Add the 5,600 and
No, that would definitely be the wrong way, then you get 134,000.
No, to the 123,369.
Say again?
To the 123 cut, the 123,369 cut added to the $5,900 that was in before.
Gives you what?
The 129,318.
Okay, I said it the other way around. I said take 129,318 and subtract 5,935. 8 minus 5 is 3. That's the last digit. Your last digit is 9, correct?
So there were two corrections made to the warrant, the CBA warrant. There was this correction for the 123,369, which was the retirement, but then there was also a small adjustment of the LTD because the LTD was not previously calculated on the warrant.
Long-term disability.
And for those who aren't aware, that was the business manager, Christopher Roy, responding on that point.
Correct.
So that that difference had not been included correctly in Article 4 in the first place. Is that accurate?
Yeah, about $230, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, so we're voting to amend Article 3. All those in favor of amending as proposed, raise your cards. Very good. All those opposed? The motion carries. Okay, so
Can I speak towards,
I'm sorry?
can I speak towards this article,
You may.
or do we need to?
So now we're
make a
going to
motion?
consider the article itself, and the member of the school board would like to present on Article 3.
Should I make a motion first to accept Article 3 as amended?
I believe we just voted on accepting the amendment. So that's done.
Okay. So, great, thank you. We are currently in a default budget for 2020 through 2021, which is $15,731,745. The amended proposed budget for 2021-2022 is $16,537,569, which is an increase of $805,823.99. The default budget for 2021-2022 is $16,563,068, an increase of $831,322.94. I want to explain some of the factors that go into our budget. We took grant money that had always been used to support Weare students from the SAU and are accounting for it in the Weare district budget. This increases the proposed and default budget by 2.58% over the current budget. However, the increase does not impact local taxes because there's an offsetting revenue from the grant. So if you consider the proposed budget of $805,824 and remove that $406,350 from that shift of grant money, we have a remaining $399,474, which does have a tax impact. Of that 2.54%, much of it is due to mandated drivers. 101% of that increase is a result of mandated increases to our employer contribution to the New Hampshire Retirement Fund and increases to the health insurance and other benefit premiums. 19% of the increase is due to increases to contracted services driven by student needs and the SAU district shares, or Weare's portion of the SAU budget. 17% of that increase is due to an increase in our transportation contract. Since we did not get our proposed budget last year, we were not able to include this budget in the default budget. We were not able to include this increase in the default budget. It is a cost that we have to pay no matter which budget we get. You'll notice that this equals more than 100%. That is because we made a number of cuts to lines throughout the budget to afford the mandated increases. This summarizes our proposed budget increases. The total proposed budget increases are $805,824. Of that, $406,350 is offset by grant revenue and therefore does not impact taxes. In blue, you see the mandated drivers that increase our budget. And in green, you see the portion of the budget that we have control over. We have thoughtfully made cuts to negate the impact of all the mandatory drivers we are experiencing this year. For those of you that prefer to see a visual breakdown of where the money in the budget goes to, you can see that the salaries and benefits are the largest contributors. And I believe that Rochelle is going to speak
So
to
I
the default.
I understand Board Member Rochelle Kelly is going to address the default budget.
Hello.
Yes, her mic is on.
Okay, so for slide 17, right? Because I can't see it.
Yes,
That says default budget at the top.
correct?
Right, it does.
Okay. Under SB2, the default budget consists of the current year's budget figure minus one-time expenditures, plus or minus contractual obligations, anything related to health or safety issues, or anything mandated by law, like teacher contracts, transportation contracts, retirement contributions, etc. In 2021-2022, the default budget is $16,563,068, which is $25,499 more than the proposed budget for 2021-2022. The default budget includes additions and subtractions as specified under SB2 provisions. The default budget for 21-22 is $16,563,067.94. The current budget for 2021 is $15,731,745, which is a difference of $831,322.94. And for next year, we're proposing $16,537,568.99. The default is $16,563,067.94, which is, the default is $25,498.95 more. And some things that are going into the differences is the salaries. In the salary line, we have shifted contracted services for the facilities manager from salary to purchase service, resulting in a decrease in this line. Some increases in the line are for the teachers outside of the CBA. The Centerwoods Elementary School custodian went from contracted services to salary, resulting in an increase in this line. The benefits for default is $410,163.83. And the proposed is $393,491.60. It's less $16,672.23 less in the proposed than the default. For the purchase services, some things that have went into that is the SAU district shares went up. That's just things we share with Henniker and John Stark. The contracted services went down, which it was the custodian. The special ed services both increased and decreased based on the students' needs. The facilities manager went to purchase services from salary, resulting in a decrease in this line and an increase in another line. We cut one instructional coach at the SAU level, which is what I just said about the SAU shares. The property services is, I want to make sure I don't skip anything. The custodial contract went to salary, resulting in a decrease in this line. We decreased disposal services costs by $5,000. We also decreased general repairs by $1,820, which is partially offset by two $500 increases in the same line, just elsewhere. For other purchase services, the increase in the big increase is because we have a transportation contract that we have to pay regardless, but it can't go into the yearly default budget until it passes in the proposed budget. And then in the supplies, we have some cuts randomly throughout it, but we have an increase because we need 5th grade science books, and we also need middle school science periodicals. We have a cut in occupational therapy equipment because we no longer have that need. There's also smaller cuts with curriculum equipment. We have cuts in dues and fees such as special ed, computer, and computer fees at Center Woods Elementary. But we also have an increase in the dues and fees at Weare Middle School. These dues and fees include web hosting, firewalls, web filters, etc. And then we have the others, which is a kind of hefty amount, but that amount is actually completely offset by grant money. We just need to put it in here so that it has a space in the budget so that we can use the grant money on it. And then, so the total between the proposed and the default is, the proposed is $25,498.95 less.
Is that the end of your presentation, Rochelle?
No, I was just waiting for the next slide. So for this slide, the increase from 2021 budget to this year's default budget is $831,322.94. The decrease from our default budget to the proposed budget is $25,498.95. Our proposed increase total is $805,823.99. I'm also sliding through them on paper so I can make sure I'm following along. So the projected tax impact for 2021 was $10.14 for the proposed and $9.85 for the default, a 29-cent difference. $8.99 was the adopted amount. For 21-22, the proposed budget tax rate would be $10.52. The default would be $10.54, a negative 2-cent difference. The CBA in Article 4 adds 14 cents onto either budget, bringing the proposed to $10.66 and the default to $10.68, still a negative 2-cent difference. The proposed budget and all warrant articles present an increase of $1.67 per thousand. So for example, a house worth $250,000 would be a $417.50 increase per year. The default budget and all warrant articles represent an increase of $1.69 per thousand. So for the same $250,000 house, it would be an increase of $422.50 per year. Now I'm finished.
Thank you. And since this is just informational, it's not debate in order, but I will entertain any clarifying questions from the body. Hearing none. Oh, Mr. Campana.
Thank you again, Mr. Moderator. Frank Campana, Quaker Street. The last slide there that she read off with the tax impacts, is that reflective of the changes of tonight, the amendments for tonight?
It is.
Sir. Finance Committee? Moderator recognizes the Finance Committee wants to speak on the issue.
Tom Downing, Chair, Weare Finance Committee. Because of the material change reflected to this amendment to Article 3, the Weare Finance, I'm the correct article, correct? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Weare Finance Committee cannot comment at this time on recommending or not, but we will be having a meeting that I'm adjusting was 8:30 will now commence at the conclusion of this evening via Zoom for debate and vote. And as I mentioned before, you'll see our recommendation in the mailer as well as the recording of our session. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Additional questions or comments? Hearing none, is there any other business before this body tonight?
Declare that it's on as amended. Just declare that it's on as amended. Declare that it's on as amended before there's other business.
So I'm declaring that the article as amended will appear on the warrant.
I move to restrict reconsideration of this article, please.
I have a motion to restrict reconsideration.
I'll second.
I have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of restricting reconsideration? Thank you. Opposed? Motion carries. Now, if there's no other business before this body, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
It is not debatable. All those in favor? Opposed? Very good. Thank you all for participating. Thank you all for your patience this evening, and be safe out there.